Well, hello everybody, Max here, and I wanted to share some discoveries I've made with you, or perhaps I should say trends. I've done these reports on 33 different kit model companies, of which 29 were styrene plastic model companies, and a series of patterns have started to emerge. One thing I've learned is that plastic kit model companies can basically be broken down into one of four different pedigrees. Either plastic companies that got into making models, that would be Revell, Aurora, Airfix. They were making all kinds of things out of plastic when they decided to move in to styrene models. The other would be companies that made models out of wood, but then migrated over to plastic as it became the dominant paradigm. Perhaps the best examples of that are Tamiya and Monogram, and really Comet, although Comet sold their plastic molds to Aurora eventually and went back only to doing wood, so they're sort of a quasi-outlier. Then there are the companies that were styrene kit companies from day one. Companies like Wingnut Wings, Zvezda. These companies tend to be somewhat younger, having gotten into the business after styrene was already established as the norm. The fourth category would be Reeboxers, who never really cut their own molds. They simply use retired molds from other companies or molds they got from companies that went bankrupt, or simply molds that they had contracted by existing companies. Sometimes in the case of someone like Intex, they may actually cut a few of their old molds, but for the most part, they're Reeboxers. Mold making itself is kind of a dark science, and it was something that is an odd mix of engineering and art. How molds are made for a long time was a closely guarded secret, but essentially it was pure artisanship. However, recently, a few companies have come out and shown how they are making molds with modern machines, and particularly Freewing, which makes radio-controlled models. They use both styrene and EPO foam. They fully admit it takes weeks to cut a single mold, even with modern CNC machines and computer graphic design. So it's still a pretty specific trade secret. They did, however, uncharacteristically allow cameras to come in and show what they do. Although on a larger scale, the essential system is the same. I'll put links to that below, and since the name of this is Molds Management and Marketing, I think it's only appropriate to talk about the management. There are basically two types of management. There are the businessmen who simply see the whole thing as a numbers game. They have no sentimental attachment to it whatsoever. They would be just as happy manufacturing plastic cups. The upside is these people are very savvy on how to make a business stay in business. The downside is they often do not understand the importance of what they're making or why it has value to the customer. They only look for cheap ways to make it. A classic example of this type of management making mistakes was switching from box art to photographs, or at least that's my humble opinion. Then you have the management teams that are doing it because they love what they're doing. Robert Reeder and Jack Besser of Monogram, Lou Glazer of Revell. The kind of people who are in love with what they're making, and it shows. They understand their customer base. The last thing is marketing. The simple reality is that model making has to appeal to an extremely wide array of tastes, and some companies realize this. The companies who develop broad product ranges, Revell, Monogram, Bandai, Tamiya, Hasegawa, these companies became giants in the industry. The problem is you have to keep selling the product. And often, despite having set up very expensive molds, certain products only have a limited life, whether it's a popular television show that goes off after a season or two, or simply a popular fad. And then some things have staying power. There's nothing more classic than, say, a B-17 or a P-51 or a Zero. These are more than just airplanes, they're icons. There will always be somebody that wants to build a Huey or a Spitfire. But can you say the same thing for a cargo ship or a sailboat? The Revell cargo ships never sold, but they didn't want to throw the molds away, so they simply rebranded them under their wartime markings. The biggest problem with marketing is making something that people are willing to buy and build. This has resulted in everything from beginner kits that have everything included to snap tights, anything to get people to buy and build. Because it's a business. If you don't sell, you're gone. A few companies have tried to invest in getting younger people interested because, let's be honest, this is a largely gentrified hobby. So molds management and marketing, these are the things that are going to make a company live or die. The biggest thing about marketing is knowing what consumers want to buy. The engineering department at Monogram was not thrilled when they came out with their wacky cars, but they sold, and that was what mattered. Perhaps one of the problems IMC faced was that their cars were so detailed and so accurate that they only appealed to a limited number of the more serious builders, because by all accounts, they made an excellent model. Everything I'm saying are just ideas that have formulated in my head after certain patterns have emerged after watching many companies. It's always sad to see a company that makes a great product go under, but then what were they doing on the business side or the marketing side? The Mania kit I'm building was excellent, but they were gone after only 5 or 6 years. So what happened? They didn't sell. They had a limited product line. They had limited reach. This was certainly no failure of the product itself. They're very nice. Good enough that Hasegawa kept them in production. Then again, it takes money to make money. Lou Glazer at Revell was adamant about trying to be one of the biggest companies out there. He kept expanding the company to the point that it was near financial ruin. Monogram was the exact opposite. They were tight with a buck and kept the product quality high. They didn't want to be the biggest. They wanted to be the best. Then there are factors outside of their control. The 73 oil embargo wrecked the kit model industry. Prices of styrene shot through the roof when you could find it. After the oil embargo, it was actually difficult for the companies to find good quality styrene. A lot of us complain about the poor quality of certain kits during a certain point in time. Well, that was often beyond their control. And the styrene mixes are also proprietary. What Tamiya has may not even be available to Monogram, and et cetera and so forth. I highly recommend you go watch the video that I'm going to link to the bottom where they interview the people from Freewing. And they touch on these things and a lot more because although they're making radio control aircraft, pretty much the same problems exist in their world that exist in the kit model world. They're close enough related. It's going to be an eye-opener. It was for me. Well, this is Max. You guys take care. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.
There's no time for us. There's no place for us. What is this thing that builds our dreams, yet slips away from us? Who wants to live forever? There's no chance for us. It's all decided for us. This world has only one sweet moment set aside for us. Who wants to live forever? Saturday. Who waits forever anyway?